Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like and hit on the notification button. Today I'm going to be making an introductory video on Coreldraw for every beginners out there. Coreldraw is a simple software used for making designs, used for making flyers, posters, banners, receipts, invoice and lot more. Coreldraw is broader and wider and deeper than what people say it is. So Coreldraw is very simple. Coreldraw is easy. It allows you to express your graphical ideas with unlimited moves and features. So I have been on Coreldraw for over a decade now, and I will tell you that Coreldraw is simple and very easy to use. Now this is how the Coreldraw window looks like. Sorry, my screen is bad. I just woke up this morning and I saw this and I needed to make this video today. So pardon me for today because it won't be a limitation. So the Coreldraw is made up of components. These components are the title bar, the menu bar, the standard bar, the property bar, the rulers, text toolbox, the color palette, drawing page, and so on. So here is our title bar. This is the Coreldraw title bar, followed by our menu bar. Here we have the file, the edit, view, layout, object, and so on down to help. And each of these menu have their own drop down menu. When you click on the file, you see them. Each of them have their own drop down menu. All these things are useful, but not for beginners, because the beginner must know how to design before they can apply anything here into their designs. So for now, our main focus will be the toolbox. So immediately after the menu bar, we have our standard bar. So, and immediately after the standard bar, we have the property bar. And immediately after the property bar, we have the toolbox, where we have all these tools here. And then this is our drawing page. Every design must be made inside this rectangle box you are seeing here. No design should be made outside the box, because the designer will regret it. To be all about time wasting for the designer. So every design must be made inside the drawing page. And here is our color palette, where we have multiples of colors here. But when we begin to advance in this training, we begin to see how beautiful Coreldraw is. And then here is our ruler, used for maintaining accuracy when designing. So when we get to that level, you will understand better. So I told us, like I said earlier, I said our main focus is the toolbox for beginners, because a beginner must know how to master their toolbox properly and accurately. So we'll start with the pick tool. So as you can see, once the cursor is on the pick tool, you see that the pick tool is used for selection, positioning, or transforming of objects. Or we say the pick tool lets you select and transforms objects. For instance, when I double click on the rectangle tool, a rectangular shape will be formed. So now the pick tool now lets me to transform this rectangle tool to whatever shape I want. Let's say now I click on the pick tool. Once I click at the center here like this, you see all these shapes here, all these arrows here. So once I place it on this one and I move it either to the left or to the right, mind you, when you click on this, you left click and you hold down. So I can move it to the left or I move it to the right. So I'm now transforming this rectangle shape to my own desired shape. Or I can just place the cursor here, and then once I left click, I will hold down and then I'll begin to rotate anyhow I want it to be. So the pick tool lets you select and transform objects. So when you have more than one object on the drawing page, you can also use the pick tool to highlight by left clicking outside and then you drag. So let me give you a clear example. So when I have another of this rectangle here and I want to highlight the three of them, I will just left click from outside like this, and then I will drag on all three objects, and then I will leave. I will release my hands from the mouse, and then you see I have highlighted the three of them. So if I want to delete, I can delete them. If I want to group them, I will group them. If I want to do anything with them, I can do it now. I can make them as one or do whatever I want to do with them. But for this tutorial sake, I will just have to show us what they are used for. So that's all for the pick tool. Now, the next on the toolbox is our shape tool. The shape tool lets you edit the shape of objects. Now, let's say we have a box. Select, click on the pick tool. So once I click on the shape tool, you see these things, they are called nodes. N-O-D-E. So we can use them to transform the shape of this rectangle like this. You see, you can use them to transform the shape, or better still, you can just click on any one of them. See, once I click on only this node, I will be permitted to edit just this angle of the box. So if I click here as well, I will be only permitted to edit this angle of the box, and before you know, I'm already giving it a beautiful shape. And then if I want to make other shapes, I will just have to click on Ctrl Q, your Ctrl and Q. Now when I click on the shape tool, now you discover that the nodes have changed. You no longer see that black dot there. You see now it has changed. So now I can still change this shape to any desired shape. So if I click on this, you see this one here. This shows that this one here has been curved already. So if I want to make another curve here, I'll just have to place my cursor on this line, and then you right click, and then you click to curve. Or better still, once you click on the line, you see that sign there like an X or a curved line there. Once you see that sign, you just click on the line, and then you move to the property bar, and then you see this shape convert to curve, and then you just click on it, and you see, then you can move this arrow up now to your desired shape. So you see, you can do it on all the lines, and you see you'll be able to move. This one is rough. Let me make another one. So when you click on the rectangle tool, once you do your box, click on the shape tool, then you click on Ctrl Q, which is the shortcut of converting to curve, Ctrl Q, and then you click on the line, you move to the property bar, and then you see convert to curve, then you click on it. So you'll be able to move this arrow like this. So you see, when I place it here again, I click on the line, you left click, always left click, and then I click on the convert to curve, and then you see, click again, left click, and then you see. So click again, like this, I click, convert to curve. So you see, this is what the shape tool does. It lets you to edit the shape of objects. I will make another video where you see where we'll make a design, either a complimentary card or any flyer design, where we'll make full use of the shape tool. Maybe there you understand better. Or I'll still make another video on the shape tool, specifically on the shape tool, because a beginner must master the shape tool. We must master the shape tool because that is where many of our concept comes from. So next is the crop tool. I don't normally use this tool though, because I can also use the shape tool to crop out the backgrounds that I don't like. So I don't normally use the crop tool, but normally the crop tool is used for highlighting and removing the parts, that the unwanted part from any image or object. So I'm not a fan of it because I don't normally use it. So I'm not a fan of the crop tool. So but the crop tool is used to remove the areas outside a selection. We have our Android phone, so when you want to crop your picture, you have to place it on the ones, you have to select the place you want specifically, and once you click on save, the area that is not selected will just disappear. So same thing applies here. So there's no new thing or any advanced thing on the crop tool. So we'll move to the zoom tool. Now the zoom tool lets you change the magnification level in the drawing window. So when you click on the zoom tool, once you left click, if you left click, it begins to come up. But when you right click, it begins to go back. So you see, or you can just use the cursor in between the left click and the right click. You see in your mouse there, you see that round button there. You can also use it to zoom in and zoom out. So if you left click, you will zoom in. You keep on zooming in, and then when you right click, you zoom out. Left click, zoom in, right click, zoom out. Left click, zoom in, right click, zoom out. So that's the function of the zoom tool. So I like to zoom very well so that I will see what I'm doing. So for those of us that are beginners, you must learn how to zoom so that you see what you are doing properly. So that's all for the zoom tool. There's no special features there. Next we have the freehand tool. Now the freehand tool, you can use the freehand tool to draw straight lines, but you see the line is not straight. So in order to get a straight line from the freehand tool, once you left click, you hold down the control button on your keyboard. You hold down the control button and then you just move the mouse to the desired length you want, and then you left click again. You left click. Note that you only hold down the control button on your keyboard. You will not left click and hold on the left click. You just left click and then freely move your mouse, holding down the control key till the desired length is achieved. Then you left click again to gain your desired length. So that's all for the freehand tool. And once you click on this black arrow down here, you see this tiny arrow down here. Once you click on it, there are other drop down menus here, but the only tools I see useful or relevant here is the pen tool and the freehand tool. So I mostly use the freehand tool and the pen tool. The pen tool, I use it for tracing. There's what we call tracing, to cut out image from a background. So there's something we call tracing in Coreldraw, to trace something out. I'll make a video on just the pen tool, but the pen tool is mostly used by professionals. The pen tool and the freehand tool, there's no much difference, but for beginners, just focus on the freehand tool to get your straight line. You can also get your straight line with the 2-point line, the bezier, all of them, they serve the same purpose. So In order to save time, the freehand tool and the pen tool is the most easiest tool on CorelDraw. So the artistic media tool, this one mostly when I make my cartoons art, that is when I use this one. So it doesn't really have an advantage when I'm making designs, but each time I'm making my cartoon art, I normally use this, the artistic media tool. You see, it doesn't really have any use. I don't use it to make designs, so I don't think it's relevant. So we'll move to the next one, which is the rectangle tool. Sorry, let me delete this one. So the rectangle tool, once you click on the rectangle tool, it allows you to draw squares and rectangle by dragging in the drawing window. The rectangle tool like this, see, once you click on the rectangle tool, see, you just left click, you hold down, and then you move your mouse to the desired length and height you want. So let's say I want this. So you see, I can also draw a box, but this box is not a perfect square. If you want to get a perfect square, once you left click, you also hold down the control button on your keyboard, and then you left click and hold. Then you keep moving until your desired shape is acquired. Then you leave. Then you release your hands from the mouse. So this is the only function of the rectangle tool. It allows you to draw rectangles and square. That is the only function of the rectangle tool. So there is no special thing again on the rectangle tool. So I'll just have to delete all those ones. The only thing there is just to make rectangle. Or is it a 3-pointer rectangle? That one is not useful. Only the rectangle tool is useful. And you can see that F6 there. That is a shortcut key for the rectangle tool. So if you can't click on the rectangle tool, you just click on the F6. I'll also make a video on the shortcut keys on CorelDraw, so that when you begin to master the CorelDraw, you no longer depend on all this long method. You just have to be using the shortcut so that you save time. For those of us that are into printing business, we don't really have time to waste, so we master the shortcut keys, which I will make a video of it, and I will surely upload it on my YouTube channel. So the next is the ellipse tool. So the ellipse tool lets you draw ellipse or cycle. So you still hold down the control button, then you left click and hold to get a perfect circle. You must hold down the control, then you left click and hold, then you begin to move the mouse until you gain your desired shape, and then you release your hand from the mouse. And then we all know, to gain an ellipse tool, you don't need to hold down the control button. You just left click and hold, then you drag your mouse until the desired shape you want, you have attained it. Then you just release your hand from the mouse. So there's no any other special features on the shape tool, so I'll just have to delete these ones. Click on my picture. So now I'll just have to select them. Remember, I told you that you can also use the pick tool to highlight objects, and now I want to delete this one, so I've just highlighted them, and now I'll delete them. So next is the polygon tool. This tool, even if I try to explain it now, it's not relevant. It's not really important, because you just have to do with shapes. You have the star shape. See, once you click on the star shape, you draw your star. You have the complex star. So you see, hold down the control. See, this one is the complex star. You have it, the complex star. like I said, I don't really come here. Maybe it's useful for beginners because you can use them to test yourself. So we have the graph paper, the spiral, you can text them yourself. We have the basic shape. When you click on it, you see we have shapes. When you click on the basic shape, you just come down here on your property bar. You see this perfect shape here, this icon here. You just click on this arrow here. You see there are different shapes here. We have the love, you see the love shape. So you just left click and hold, and then you create your love shape. And then you still go back. We have the arrow shape. You see we have different kinds of arrow shapes here. We have them, so you can see them. See different kind of arrow shape. So as a beginner, you should just test the video. You should just test the shapes on your own. We have the flow chart shape, the banner shapes, and the call out shapes. So you can just try them. Just try them on your own and see what you make out of it. But for now, I think we are done here. So I'll just have to delete this. So the next is our text tool. So the text tool, it lets you to add and edit paragraph and artistic text. So you can see it there. So when you click on the text tool, you just left click on any area you desire, but it has to be inside your workspace or your drawing page. So just type anything. You just type anything. So this for small letter, and then if you want it to be on capital letter, you just have to click on the caps lock button and then on your keyboard, and then you just have to write on capital letters. So you see, and then you can just resize it from here. It's not permitted to resize your text from this angle. As you can see, it deforms the shape, so it is prohibited to adjust the size of your text from this angle. So the proper way is to resize it from either here or here. So you see, this is the best way to resize your text. So that's that for the text too. And then also for writing, or you can also left click and hold, and then you drag your mouse down, and then you see you can edit text and paragraph here. But the previous one I did, you can't edit or you can't add paragraphs there, but here you can add paragraphs. So I can just click on the see. So I have my paragraph here now. When I come, see, so you can add paragraphs here, while the one I did earlier, you can add paragraphs there. So that's all for the text tool. Then the next is the parallel dimension tool. Seriously, I don't use this tool on Coreldraw. In fact, I see it as time wasting, but as a beginner, you can just try it and see what does it do. Okay, you left click and hold, and then you drag. You see, so it's useless. It's completely useless. So we just have to delete it because I really won't be needing this. So the next we have the straight line connector tool, which is also useless to me, but let's find out. Let's see. So because I said it's useless, it's no longer functional. So sorry for that. The straight line, how does it work? Okay, see, it's also the same as the freehand tool. So you see, that's why I said it's useless. So we just have to delete it. It's time wasting. So it's also the same thing there. So the next is the drop shadow tool, which is used to apply shadows behind or below objects. So this is how it works. When I click on my rectangle tool, so I will have to let's make use of the basic shapes. Let me choose one shape from here. Let's say the love shape. So we have like this. So I have to click here. Let's say we give it the yellow color. Need something that is sharp. And then the heart shape, we give it the red color. So when you click on the drop shadow tool, you click on the heart tool where you want to apply the shadow, and then on your keyboard you hold down the control key, the control button, while you just left click and hold, then you move your mouse. Once it's at the end, then you release your hand from both the control button and then your mouse. So you see that the shadow is there. You can see the shadow there, but it's not bold enough. So in order to increase the opacity of the shadow, you have to highlight this figure here, this 50 there. Let's say 100, and then click on press the enter button on your keyboard. You see now the shadow is out. You can see it's now bolder than before. So you see, I click on my drop tool, on my pick tool, and they are the same thing. See, when you right click, so you now see, you see the beauty of the drop shadow tool. So that is what it's used for. The rest here, I don't really see them as important. Contour, blend, extrude. Let's say the envelope and the extrude are important here, but the distort and blend, I don't think it's important. So I'll just have to show you how it works here. Let's say we have a test. So when you click on the envelope, okay, so you see when you left click and you hold, you see. So this is what the envelope tool does to your text. So I'll just have to go back using Ctrl Z. So let's switch to the extrude tool. Once you click on it, you move your mouse to this preset. So you choose either of it to the top. So you see, you have to move this guy down. So that's that for the extrude tool. But these things I don't normally use them. It's quite a long time I use them now. So you see, this is the effect of the extrude tool on your text. I did this when I was learning back then, and ever since that year, I don't think I've used this tool again, because Coreldraw has advanced. It has advanced features, so I won't be wasting my time here again. So, but it's very good that beginners learn how to use this, because it's very important. It adds beauty to the design of a beginner. So that's that for the extrude tool and the drop shadow tool. So I'll just have to delete this. Then we'll move to the transparency tool. Okay, so we have this. Let's say we give it the red, and then we draw another rectangle. So we give it the yellow. Now the transparency tool partially reveals image areas underneath the object. So this is what it does. When I want this yellow rectangle to be underneath the red, it's just like adding watermark to your text. For those of us that are into receipts, invoice, and even typing, sometimes you see a watermark of the company's logo at the background of the invoice or of the receipt or of the letterhead. So you see it as a watermark. So what the transparency tool does is to create a watermark. So just call it a watermark. We are trying to make a watermark here. So when you click on the rectangle, you click on the transparency tool, you now move your mouse up here where you have the uniform transparency, where you have the fountain transparency, where you have the vector pattern transparency, and then the bitmap, and then the two color pattern transparency. But the ones I mostly use are the uniform, or the one I mostly use here is the uniform transparency. So when you click on the uniform transparency, you discover that the yellow, the opacity of the yellow has been reduced. Sorry about that. So when you click on it, you see that the opacity is 50%. Let's just use percent. So if I want it to still reduce further, I will have to increase this figure here. Let's say 80. Now 80, you see, by the time you make it 100, you discover that you are not seeing anything here. So it's best we just leave it at 80. It's best we just leave it at 80. So once you type in the figure, you click on the enter button on your keyboard. So that's it. And then another thing the transparency tool does, let's see, we have this, the black here. I just double click on the rectangle tool twice and it formed a rectangle shape of this same size here, and then I added black color to it. So now the transparency tool does something like this. See, it blends the edge of a box or an image or an object. It blends it together on another object. So that's it. Or you can also, you call it the transparency tool or the blend tool, because you can use it to blend the edge of an object. So that's that for the transparency tool. I'll just have to delete those ones, and then we will come back to the color eyedropper tool. I normally call it the stealing tool because you can use it to steal any color you desire from a background or from a design. Now let's say I have this rectangle here and I have this color. Let's say this color, and I so desire this color. So I will have to create another rectangle that is empty, and then I will click on the eyedropper tool, which I also nickname the stealing tool, and then I will have to move it on this rectangle here. You see this one here. Then I will left click, and then I will move my mouse on this one that is empty, and then I will left click. So you now see that I have exactly the same color as the one on the first rectangle. So that's the job or the work of the eyedropper tool, to steal colors. You know, there are times you go online, you see beautiful designs, you see some colors that you don't know how to mix them, to mix up color to achieve that color. So you just have to download the background, send it to your system, move it to your Coreldraw, and then use the eyedropper tool to steal that color. So that's the function of the eyedropper tool. Then yes, that's it. So sorry, let me see something. The function of this. Okay, let's see, we have these, and then we have these. Let's see, let me see. Okay, I'm not really familiar with that too. I'm only familiar with the eyedropper too. So maybe you can try it on your own and see what you get. So next is our interactive fill tool, and here let me show you what it does. Once I have a rectangle, I have this color. When you click on your interactive fill tool, you have something like this. So the interactive fill tool can also be used to achieve two colors on a design, or more than two colors on a design. So when I click on this white color here, or on this tiny box here, you see this drop menu appeared. So when you click on it, you see there are various colors here. I just have to click on black. You see I now have two colors here. I have two colors here. So you can have more than two colors once you just left click twice on this line. You see this dotted line. You see my mouse, the cursor is on it. You click twice, you see another one, and you can, let's just call it node, N-O-D-E, node. So node color, you have created another node color here. Let's say we choose this color. So you see, the more node color you apply, the more colors you have, or the more node boxes you add, the more colors you have on your design. So you see now, see what I created. As this I'm small. So that's that for the interactive fill tool. So you can use it to achieve more than 2, 3, 4 colors on a background or on a design. If you browse on the internet, you see some backgrounds that are like this. So these backgrounds are achieved using the interactive fill tool. So, and then the last here, we have the smart fill tool. I think I remember this one. Let's try it. I remember this one. So the smart fill tool is useless to me though. But they said it's used to create objects from overlapping areas and apply a fill to those objects. Maybe you can give it a try, but I think the useful ones are the ones we have seen here: the pick tool, the shape tool, the zoom tool, the freehand tool, and all of that. So I hope you like the video and I hope you enjoy it. So when next I come up here, I'll be making a video on how to make complementary card design. But for the sake of the beginners here, I would love to give an assignment, but maybe in my next video. So in my next video, I will be making a design. I will be making a video on how to make a Corel card design. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to hit on the notification button. If there's any complaint, please drop it at the comment section, and if there is any request, please drop it at the comment section. I will surely be available to answer your questions or whatever you have. So thank you once more. You're welcome.